Do you want to go on vacation every single month, sit on the beach, count your money, and just rely on a whole bunch of people to close deals and build your business for you?
Do you want to have all the freedom in the world, not have to sell houses anymore, be completely out of production, and still make twice as much money as you did just selling houses?
Build a real estate team. These are some of the lies. We're saying this tongue in cheek, but these are some of the lies that you hear in the real estate community. Just build a team and everything will take care of itself. People will sell houses for you. You can step back from production. You can just go relax, go take vacations nonstop, and things will perpetually just run themselves. That is definitely not reality. Or if that exists, I've yet to encounter that person or that business. What we want to offer you today is kind of an actual look under the hood, a peek behind the curtain of the actual hardest parts of leading a real estate team. Because this is hard shit, people.
Yep.
There's nothing easy about this. Anyone that tells you running a real estate team is easy is freaking lying to you or trying to sell you something. So we're gonna share with you just the raw, real breakdown and the hard parts of running a real estate team today. First part I wanna talk about, it's hard to build an operations team. That is very, very challenging. When I say operations team, I mean like the backbone, the structure of a real estate team. This is people like a transaction coordinator, a listing coordinator, a marketing person, an operations person. These are all people that you're going to have to bring in, employ, train, and retain in your business to run a successful team. You don't have to have all of them if your team is small, but if you're gonna do several hundred transactions or scale your team, you're going to need each of these positions and then even some other ones as well to actually have a stable business. Each of these positions brings a tremendous amount of leverage to your agents. And obviously when you're trying to grow a team, you have to have a value proposition to agents that's going to attract them into your business and your ecosystem. What are you gonna do for them to help them sell more houses? One of the most important things you can do for them is develop and build a world-class operations team for them to be surrounded by.
And so we have some clarity around what this means when we're talking about building an operations team. You know, as a team leader, if you're an aspiring team leader or somebody who's rebuilding maybe a team, maybe you've stripped everything down and you're trying to rebuild a real estate team the right way, understand that if you do not have someone with that job to cover those tasks in your organization, that someone is you. You have to be the person who fills all of the gaps, who holds together all of the different pieces until you're able to essentially replace yourself with those specific positions, including the TC, listing coordination, operations support, financial support, sales trainer, all of these things. You are the one wearing all of the hats in the beginning. So it has to be very intentional and very, very present in the beginning days of starting your team.
So how did we handle this when we started our team? Well, the first person that we hired on the operations side, I believe it was an assistant, right?
Correct.
And she was kind of doing some transaction coordination support, listing coordination support, a little touch of marketing, things like that, right? And then after that, we then segmented that from listing coordination. We had a listing coordinator, right? So we had now an assistant and then we had a listing coordinator. And then what was the third piece we had? Partners, yeah, showing partners to go show homes, right? And we've done videos about the showing partner model. I don't consider partners really part of the operations team, they're part of the sales team, but they're a necessary part of leverage if you want to scale up your personal production to a high level, or if you have agents on your team that want to go from 20 deals a year to say 50 or 60 transactions and not lose their mind.
One of the hardest things about building the team and growing your team initially is that in the beginning, you're going to have a significant imbalance between sales and revenue and operation support. So it takes longer than you think to be able to build up the revenue in order to pay what you need to get good talent into the positions of operations to be able to support more revenue and more sales. So, you know, the way that we did it was by bringing in the support because both of us were in full-time production. So we were able to then bring in very full-time support, then bring in leverage on the sales side so that we can continue to produce at a high level while also buying some of our time back to be able to do things that we need to do running the team.
When you have these key positions in the operations team, it really allows your agents to focus on just what they do well, which is going to be typically setting appointments, going on appointments, and then signing people and then negotiating deals. Everything else you want to build a person within your ecosystem, within your business that you can hand stuff off to. So once a listing is signed, boom, a listing coordinator should be stepping in. Once a deal goes under contract, boom, the transaction coordinator should be stepping in. And then those people should be driving until the next sales milestone comes up. Very, very important. That's going to allow your people to sell more, make more, and make them be attracted to staying within your business.
That's exactly right.
The second big thing is developing quality lead sources. I get asked probably more than anything else, like, what are your lead sources? And we don't change them very often. Like, in fact, they've really stayed the same over the last 7.5 years. But you need some reliable, consistent lead sources that are going to bring value to your agents. Some agents will join a team mostly for the purposes of having leads brought into them, right? And that may not be the best reason to join a team, but it's definitely something that is important. It's definitely part of the value proposition you have to have a plan to address if you're going to be wanting to build a team. You need to provide some opportunities they would not be able to have on their own. Some of our favorites, love or hate Zillow. It's been a great conversion for us. It's expensive, but it is very much a ready to go lead and very, very good. So I look at Zillow, I look at Realtor.com. Realtor.com is also expensive, but also pretty ready to go. And then I look at pay-per-click, like Google. If somebody Googles homes for sale in your area, your website comes up and you capture the information. And I would look at Ylopo possibly as well for retargeting and generating new leads. So those are some of the just most basic lead sources. Of course, you're going to have the agent powered lead sources. This would be open houses, this would be door knocking, this would be Sphere, things like that as well. But you need to really make sure that you've got a plan for your lead sources. You also need to think, I just mentioned Sphere, you need to think how you're going to support your agents on developing their Sphere business. One of the best ways to do that is through hosting client events. As the team leader, you're going to need to think about how to do client events and put a lot of planning preparation into actually executing them as well.
Absolutely right. So another hard part about being a team leader when it comes to these lead sources is being able to do a consistent return on your investment report. So, you know, every single month, our team tracks where all of our closings came from, what sources those came from, and how much we spent on each of those sources. So of course, within the first month, 2 or 3 of a brand new lead source into your team, you're not gonna see a very good return on investment or ROI. But after 6 months, after a year, after 2 years, that's when you're going to be able to actually see some good return and track how much you're spending versus how much you're actually closing that lead source. And it will give you some valuable insight as to what is actually working or not. We also are gonna track our cost per closing. How much money did we have to spend with that particular lead source in order to close how many deals? We do some simple math. What is our actual cost per closing from that lead source? So being able to do that and keeping up on doing that every single month over time will yield you some significant returns just because of the tracking of the return on those investments you're making for those lead sources.
So what is the hard part of the lead source dynamic with being a team leader? Well, you got to find those lead sources. You got to develop your process for converting those lead sources. But most importantly, you got to be the person that writes the check for those lead sources. So get ready to stroke a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 check per month to provide lead opportunities to your team depending on the size of your organization. Okay?
Depending on, yep, exactly right. Number 3 is developing the training that allows agents to find breakthroughs in the business. A lot of people in our industry are fantastic agents. They are great negotiators. They are great with their own personal time management. They're really good with customer service and with the client, service. But they do not know how to create processes that are duplicatable and teach other people how to do those same things really well. So as a team leader, if you do not have a coach, if you do not have somebody helping you craft the action steps and the standard operating procedures in order to help create training for the people you're bringing in your organization, you are doing yourself a disservice. As a team leader, it is very difficult sometimes to create the training, to execute the training, and to consistently keep your people accountable to that training in order to help them get those breakthroughs that they need.
Yeah, it's a really good point that you just brought up, because a lot of people, they look at like a top producing agent and they think, hey, that person would be a natural team leader to go lead others in doing this. And the two are really completely different. Like, they're actually polar opposite skill sets. One is a sales-based skill set. The other one is actually a business operator skill set. So putting real estate aside, do you have business skills, right? Do you understand how to create an organization that works and flows? Do you understand how to hire people, how to train people, how to retain people, how to develop systems, how to develop process, financial controls? All of these things that make you a great business operator are totally outside the realm of what makes you a great real estate agent.
Exactly right. And I do think that, as a good salesperson, top producer, to your point, is you're maybe able to get a lot of people into your organization. You're able to sell them on the value proposition that you're able to provide. But if you do not have the substance, if you have not crafted the training and have a decent outline for a 30, 60, 90-day on-ramp for your people coming into the organization, people are going to know very, very quickly that they may have been sold something that you cannot back up, and that is not a position you want to be in. So take the time. This, again, is a very hard and difficult part of being the team leader. Take the time to craft a 30, 60, 90, 6-month, 1-year goals and exactly the on-ramp for your people and the activities needed to get to that point throughout that timeline.
Yeah, as far as what our team does beyond that too, we also do weekly trainings as a group, really important. We do morning role plays as a group, and then we have an online training academy. So there's, kind of a library of resources to go back and watch videos on, get training on, things like how to use a CRM, how to do buyer consultations, things like that. The last one I want to talk about is putting together a group of like-minded people that collectively have the right mindset. These are people that have a mindset of abundance. They want to see the people next to them win. They don't think that when the next person next to them wins that they're losing. This is hard to do in sales.
Yeah.
Like if you look at sales culture, it's a really big thing where a lot of times sales teams are really undercutting each other. They're nasty about fighting for leads and opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's not the vibe that we want in our organization. It's probably not the one that you want for yours either. So how do you find those top producers that don't have that kind of douchey mindset, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the ways as a team leader, one of the ways that we have been able to bring in, retain, and continue to promote and help grow people in our organization with this like-minded mindset is establishing core values. So initially, our kind of slogan for our team was, we want people who are hungry, humble, and smart. And that simply means we want people who know that they're not the best in the room, or if they are the best, they're going to help other people shine as well. We want people who are driven, ambitious, and self-motivated, and we want people who have some street smarts, some social awareness. That was kind of the initial aspect of our team. As we've evolved, we've retained people for 5, 7 years and more. We've established 10 core values, 10 different traits that we think are characteristics of people that we want to be in business with on a consistent basis. And so those core values are something that we look at every single person who is interviewing to become part of our organization. That is the lens that we use to be able to assess if this person would be a fit or not. And then of course, we utilize that in the interview process. We bring that up to people who are trying to come in saying, which one of these might you struggle with and what are your strengths? Because it's important that you have different strengths, and it's okay to have different weaknesses within the organization, because that's the point of lifting each other up.
Anything else that you think we should cover as far as the difficult dynamics? I mean, these are 4 really good ones, and if you can come up with ways to get past these really tough obstacles, you could build a great organization.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, one of the biggest things that we've learned over 7+ years of running a team is that it really comes down to the relationships that you build, right? You can sell people to come in your organization all day long. You can provide them all these tangible things, all this technology and all this training, but if those people don't feel like you care about their growth or about them as a person, you are going to fall short. And that by far is one of the hardest things as a team leader, to balance all of the people in your life and making sure that you touch every single person every single week and keep that proximity. But it is well worth your time and well worth the relationships that you build with incredible people as they stay in your world.
So there you have it, folks, the hardest parts of building a team and ways they could possibly overcome it as well.